Have you ever wondered what your favorite carnivore creator actually eats in a day? Well, I had the opportunity to interview 36 carnivore experts at Meatstock 2025, and I got them to answer that question for you. I'll go first, and then we'll dive into the other experts. So for me, I'm basically eating beef, butter, pork products, and eggs about 90% of the time. I also like to have some cans of sardines, probably a few times a week. Another thing that I've been kind of obsessed with lately is chicken wings. I like to cook them in my tasty air fryer, and they're absolutely delicious. I've had them 3 days in a row the past week. So I'm pretty simple. I'm not doing a lot of complicated recipes most of the time, and I do keep my macros pretty high fat. I think I'm around 70-30 most days. I will go as high as 80% fat to 20% protein. Now, let's dive into what other carnivore creators actually eat.
It's as simple as this, a fatty black and blue, that means charred a little bit on the outside and blue on the inside, ribeye steak. That's my go-to every single day. Simple, I'll always throw a little bit of butter on it, makes the very best, and also sprinkle it with some really great salt. That's really it.
I'm a very high-fat carnivore. If you come to my channel and you check out what I eat, there's always going to be flank short ribs, sticks and sticks of butter on the side, and I like it cold. There's a reason you don't see it melted on my meals or as a dipping sauce. I'm eating it cold for a reason. It adds that variety of flavor and texture, and temperature even provides variety for me, but it's also easier to digest. So I eat cold butter, I eat all of the fatty beef, but I love ground beef, ribeye, flank and short ribs. Again, I highly stress the flank and short ribs, it's life-changing. I'll have egg pudding, tons of eggs, salmon, sashimi, high-fat foods.
I'm wearing it on my shirt today, so beef, butter, bacon, and eggs are the staples, and you can combine those things in so many ways. You can start the day with some scrambled eggs and a little ground beef. Butter is good with every meal. Have a steak for dinner, and throw an egg in whenever you're feeling the need.
You know, it really varies for me. I've kind of gone a little bit more lion diet. So if you're looking for specific meals, I actually get my meat from certain farms like Lick Skillet and Billy Doe Meats because it's low histamine. And I never age any of my meats. Nothing ground. I'm very careful. I'm very reactive to a lot of different foods. So for me, typically it's like fatty goat taco meat. I eat a lot of goat and lamb. I eat a lot of organs. I really like kidney. I like brain, which I know is very gross to people, but they're just so nutrient dense. And I've had a lot of health issues. So I think if you're dealing with a lot of health issues, I think your body's just craving nutrients. So I think organs are a great place to go. And if you can't do organs themselves, I'd say take maybe some supplements. There's a lot of like desiccated organ supplements out there that are very helpful.
I've been on carnivore for 2.5 years, and even at this point, I still do include some electrolytes in my, daily meals. Not including them every day, but I do include them probably 3 to 4 days a week. The electrolyte brand that I use is Element, and I'd like to thank them for sponsoring today's video. Element is an electrolyte brand that has 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Now, I'm typically using their raw unflavored, but they just came out with this limited edition flavor, lemonade salt, just in time for summer. Wow, it's amazing. I've been slightly obsessed with this salt. So I put it in 16 to 24 ounces of water, 1 packet, mix it up, good to go. And especially if I'm working outside, like working on our Airstream, or if we're camping or something like that, somewhere where I'm really hot, I will do more than 1 packet. I'll do like 2 packets in a day. Right now, Element is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. So you can head to the link in the description. It's drinkelement.com/Jenny Mitich. That's DRINKLMNT.com/Jenny Mitich and get your free sample pack with any order today.
So I usually keep it fairly simple. We'll do lots of burger patties. I honestly haven't even had steak in a while, but lots of burger patties, ground beef, love some chicken wings. Pretty much eat a carnivore bar every single day, free plug for them. And like on the weekend or something, I'll put in a little bit more effort and we'll do like carnivore pizza or carnivore lasagna, biscuits and gravy, something, a little bit more fun for my kids, but keep it really simple during the week.
I usually start with a can of sardines, usually with something more to get it up to my 30-gram minimum. But before a workout, just 1 can of sardines and maybe a couple slices of butter is enough for a workout. But when I have fish, I always include lots of butter because it's very lean. You do not want to be burning protein for energy. That just creates ammonia and can be toxic. So you have to get enough fat. Fish is fantastic. I have vascularization and muscles because I eat a lot of fish, but I make sure I eat a lot of butter with that. And so often I have a seafood breakfast, and then I often have pork or something, leftovers often for lunch, and it could be a variety of things for dinner, but I personally am a little restricted because I have some food sensitivities, so I keep it simple. But I love oysters. I do oysters once a week and do mussels a couple times a month and have a real variety of seafood. It keeps it really interesting and fun. And there's easy ways to kind of mix it up and make it interesting. You know, combining ground meats, pork and venison is like magical, you know, and so there's lots of ways to get that feeling of diversity and texture and flavor combinations that make it fresh.
Mine looks like I have been having this amazing Courtney Luna Cobb salad for breakfast, or brunch. It's brunch for me, let's face it. So that is chicken breast, hard-boiled egg, bacon, blue cheese. I take the bacon fat that just rendered, pour it into the salad with a sprinkle of vinegar. Bam. That's my breakfast. And then, or sometimes I'll have an omelet, and then dinner is usually a strip steak. That's it.
I actually have 3 meals per day, but it starts at 8 o'clock with steak and 6 egg yolks fried. And I do this pretty lightly so that they can be a sauce for my steak. And then at lunchtime, if I get a little bit hungry, I have 1 or 2 tins of sardines with a little salt and mustard. And then dinner is usually a steak of some sort.
Usually a strip steak.
Yeah, and that's what I eat every day.
I actually have successfully reintroduced many foods. So I make homemade einkorn sourdough bread, but I eat lots of eggs, lots of lamb, and lots of beef, and maybe just some fruit. So I'm still heavily animal-based, but I've reintroduced other foods. Back when I was healing though, I ate fatty lamb, billy doe meats for an entire year. And that's when I reversed everything.
Lots of eggs in the morning. I have at least 3 every day. I like to have some kind of beef or sausage on the side of that. For lunch, I generally do some kind of meat. So I don't know, maybe it'll be turkey or chicken, and definitely with added fat. I love to add ghee or dip my chicken in duck fat. If you've never tried it, it's absolutely amazing. And then for dinner, I really like to do ribeye.
I am an intermittent faster, so despite what the entire internet wants to tell you about women not fasting, I think it's bio-individual. I do things differently throughout the month according to my cycle, but mostly I break my fast around maybe 12 or 1 o'clock, typically 3 to 4 eggs, usually maybe some ground beef. I might do some salmon, maybe some sardines, get a little bit of omegas. I like the variety, taste the rainbow when it comes to all the proteins. I will sometimes do a smoothie in the afternoon. I like Equip personally, and just makes me feel good with some water, cream, lots of ice to make a little smoothie bowl. And then dinner is usually maybe a ribeye, strip steak, salmon. I balance my beef, I have at least once a day usually, with maybe some fish or chicken. Keep it simple.
So I start my day usually, well, actually every day I start with a protein coffee. So it's beef protein powder in my coffee, and then typically I'll go do some ballroom training. And then I'm home for lunch. Lunch can be a bunch of eggs, or it can be some burger patties, or a combination of the two. And then typically for dinner, I'm having some kind of like chops. So I'm having a steak, or I'm having lamb chops, and that can be seasoned or not seasoned, but that's a typical day.
Generally, it means I like to be on the move, and I will look at the leftovers from last night, whether it's a hamburger or some leftover steak, and I'll heat that up really quick, and I'll eat it with a cup of coffee. Mind you, I'm not 100% strict, and then I'll move on my day, and then I'll generally have some meat and cheese for lunch, maybe another snack of meat and cheese, and then we like to really focus on the dinner where we wind down together, and we'll cook up. She likes ribeyes a lot, and so she likes to get her princess way. So we'll do some ribeyes or maybe some skewers on the grill, and call it a day. Oh, and lots of water and salt.
So for me, I love to start every single day. I'm a very structured engineer. I like to start my day with a chaffle. I make a chaffle, which is cheese and egg waffles with some collagen in it. I love to start my day every day with that. I also do a little bit of herbal tea, which is mostly herbs and water. And then I tend to eat ribeyes, so I try to pack in some beef during the day, and sometimes we'll have other things like sausages and bacon throughout the day. But I'm not a big lunch eater, but I'm a big breakfast and dinner eater.
I go through extreme phases. The burger patty phase, so for about 10 years, I ate 6 to 8 quarter-pound beef patties every single day, literally the end. Unless it was a special occasion, my husband grilled. You know, if there was something else that was there. That's what I ate. And now I'll have days where I'll eat carnivore ice cream for breakfast. That's my go-to. I'm in a phase. And I'll kind of drive something into the ground until I'm sick of it. So I'll go through salmon every night for dinner, chicken thighs every night for dinner, very cyclical. So it depends when you ask me. I eat 3 times a day. It's either meat, eggs, or dairy 3 times per day, sometimes 4 if I'm really hungry. I do often track to kind of show people that new carnivore advice. I don't think they should track at all. But if somebody is struggling, I'll just say, let's find out what you're doing right now. And sometimes to help show my group members what that looks like. How do you track food? I do it too. And I'm usually eating around 3,200 calories per day. So I'm eating a lot and loving every single bite of it.
I've experimented with a lot of diets from my 20s to vegetarian, low carb with clients in 2002. I started helping my weight loss clients with that. Done a lot of intermittent fasting, fasted workouts. I've over leveraged it all. I'm at the point right now where it's a combination of meat and fruit 3 times a day. Meat, fruit, some tubers, depending on the time of day and how active I am that day, with 3 meals a day. It's pretty consistent. Could be a pork chop, could be beef, could be some fish, with a variety of fruit, or like I said, sweet potato, regular potato, and that's the bulk of my diet.
Oh my gosh, every morning I start with eggs and bacon. Gotta have that bacon every day. And then typically for lunch I'll have like a pound of ground beef or a pound of ground turkey with a bunch of cheese on it. And then dinner, like ideally a steak, but sometimes salmon or chicken wings. I don't know, I kind of like to eat the carnivore rainbow. I like to get all of my animal food groups in every day. So it can vary day to day, but that would be a very normal day for me.
Well, that's funny. Every single morning is eggs. Eggs, the juicy eggs with some sausage and cheese. My lunch is usually something beefy, and then I often have like a small meal of fishy stuff like sardines or salmon, and so that's pretty much every day, and lots of electrolytes.
A day of carnivore meals looks like 4 or 5 eggs for breakfast, maybe with a little sprinkle of cheese on them, but definitely lots of butter. And then for lunch, typically, I will have some chicken wings. That's kind of the top of my favorite foods list. So I'm almost always eating chicken wings almost every day. I just love them. And then for dinner, usually it's either a couple of hamburgers or a really big, juicy steak.
So I am a convenience buff. I love convenience. So I keep it simple. I really do just go with bacon and eggs in the morning. Depending on the day, I may fast until noon, but lately I've been eating around 9:30, 10 in the morning. So I'll have 4 bacon, sugar-free, and then 4 to 5 eggs. It's, the start of my day. I'll go to the gym, and then for a long time that tides me over, probably 6 hours. And then I will usually have a pound, of ground beef, let's say, for dinner. I might add in some other hard-boiled eggs in there too. I might add in some steak as well, so I don't undereat on calories. But really, it's pretty much that simple. Ground beef, bacon, and eggs. And I'll also add in a lot of tallow. So I love tallow. I'll get that at the store and I'll just snack on it if I need to. If I'm feeling hungry, I'll have some fat. And big on bone broth. Love bone broth. It's so good. It's like you can have it kind of in a gelatin state, which is kind of gross. Most people don't do that. I like that. Or you can just heat it up, put some salt in there, and that's really good for minerals and vitamins that we don't get a lot of the time. And it, helps to just feel, it tastes good to eat. So kind of those 4 to 5 things is what I eat every day.
My day's pretty simple when it comes to carnivore meals. I really like to emphasize ground beef, eggs, steak. Sometimes I'll go crazy and throw in a little bit of bacon or chicken wings, but I really like to keep it simple. I usually do 2 meals a day.
So I eat a nose-to-tail carnivore diet. I usually start my day with goat or lamb, and it's generally in a form of like chops, ribs, ground goat or lamb meat. And then I usually will add some sort of organ. So I'll either add brain
I'll add fat trimmings also. That's another, like, I always have to start my day with fat trimmings. Liver, heart, kidney, or sweetbreads. Those are my top favorite organs. And then I usually start that at around between like 10 and 11, a couple hours after I wake up. And then I usually finish my last meal, and that's around maybe 4 or 5. And I'll have some sort of beef, like ribeye steak, New York strip, and then I'll always add some extra fat. And occasionally I'll add liver or some sort of other organ, sometimes heart as well.
A typical day for me as an 8-year carnivore looks different today than it did in the beginning. We all have a transition of what we've done over the years. So I'm 8 years healed, and what my day looks like is I enjoy intermittent fasting. I love the energy and the clarity that I feel during the day of being in a fasted state. So for about 20 hours of each day, I'm fasting, but I'm drinking plenty of water, a cup of coffee in the morning, well hydrated all throughout the day. And then I eat 2 very large meals within about a 4 to 5 hour window. And those meals total, between the 2 meals, is somewhere around 3 pounds of meat plus eggs. I prioritize beef because of what I've healed from. I feel the best with about 90% of my diet being beef, whether it be steak, ground beef, or roasts that I've put into the slow cooker. I complement those meals with, like, I consider a side dish of pork or chicken, whatever I'm hungry for. But my main, about 90% of what I'm eating is pasture-raised eggs and 2 to 3 pounds of beef.
Truth is that can vary a lot because my life is never the same day to day. I'm traveling, I'm operating, we're doing all the things, but generally it's going to be at least 1, if not 2 meals, and a lot of ground beef for me because it's convenient, can cook it up quickly. If I'm at home, if I'm out traveling, it's going to be, find a steak place, find a burger place, get about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds of meat is my usual average in a day, and eat it in 1 or 2 meals as it might fit my schedule.
Well, I eat most of my food in the morning, so I have a really beautiful morning routine, ritual. I do morning meditation, gratitude, grounding, cold shower, and then I'll eat. So I'll have 2 Scotch fillet steaks with butter and salt. Then I'll maybe have a little bit of cream. I really like a pure cream, just as something to have after my steak. And in the afternoon, I'll usually have maybe another steak or a piece of fish or some lamb, again with maybe butter. And that's it. Usually eating about twice a day.
Where I live, it's really hard to get good bacon. So I get uncured bacon, pork belly, and I chop it up and I fry it, and then it's got all this beautiful grease at the bottom, and then I scramble eggs. I love that more than a ribeye. That is like my favorite go-to food. So that's breakfast. I will eat breakfast if I'm hungry first thing in the morning, or I'll wait till 10. And then I try to not eat later in the day, like very late at night. So I try to eat like 3 or 4 is my second meal. Sometimes I'll eat 3. It'll be some meat, some red meat. That's basically it. Sometimes I get wild and I'll have chicken wings. Sometimes I'll eat some more pork, but if I do breakfast, pork belly and eggs, bacon and eggs, and then dinner is some sort of red meat, and it's super simple.
Carnivore meal looks like for me, so typically I get up, I'll have water. I mean, I usually don't do breakfast. Sometimes I do, depending on whether I'm priming or fasting. And then I'll eat around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and I'll have a big ribeye steak, and that's my typical. I love that, and a yogurt on the side. And lately we make our own yogurt, so lately I've been using the El Rudo strain, and beautiful stuff. Dinner time, it just depends. So dinner time, then I would go into maybe a lamb or a different type of cut of beef and yogurt again. So it's kind of boring, kind of the simple, but my most staple time is 2 meals a day unless I'm totally fasting.
Well, meat. For me, yeah, I would say eggs a lot of eggs, and I even sometimes break it up so that I'm doing more egg whites, just so I get even a little bit more protein. But then that steak, now one of my favorite cuts is the hanger steak. So a lot of people gravitate to the ribeye, but I love the hanger steak a lot. And then I actually also do fish. Like I think fish is really good. I like it raw, so I do a lot of sashimi or poke kind of style fish, and I always default to, like, one of my favorite cuts is the brisket. Love the brisket, but really do encourage people to not just stick towards one cut. The whole animal, and you're getting different things. Try to use some of the tendons, try to get some of the bone, try to really mix it in so that you're doing some slow cook, some grill, because you're going to get those different benefits from the whole animal.
I usually eat twice a day. I have my biggest meal typically early in the day. It's usually about 2 pounds of steak, and then in the evening I'll have something smaller. I might have another little bit of meat, or might have some eggs or something like that.
Pretty plain and simple. My favorite things are to dry brine steaks in the fridge and just use them up over a few days. Air fryer is my best friend. I've always got either a steak, burgers, or salmon fillets in there.
Sometimes I have breakfast, sometimes I don't. Normally have 2 meals a day, sometimes 3 a day, it depends. I have a tendency to eat intuitively, so if I'm hungry, I'll have breakfast. So I may have bacon and eggs for breakfast. For lunch, I may have hamburger patties. For dinner, I may have a steak and some shrimp, or maybe even steak and eggs. Just kind of eat intuitively, and as you know, I eat a lot of dehydrated meat. So I'm always doing dehydrated meat.
I told you, I'm like a dog. I could eat the same thing all the time. I like spending money on food because I think that's important. I do have filet mignon every breakfast with scallops, which I really enjoy. I usually have fish for lunch, so I really like halibut, so that's a big one. If I'm in Hawaii, it's mahi usually. And then dinner, I know you are gonna laugh, but it's usually another tenderloin and scallops, because I really like that. I was sad because with COVID, I lost my love for that for a moment, but I was determined to bring it back, so I just kept doing it. Now I'm back to loving it. But I do pair my carnivore steak sauce with that too for dinner.
Nothing for breakfast. Coffee, maybe, but nothing for breakfast. I try to get hydrogen water first thing in the morning as well. I usually eat my first meal around lunchtime, and that is either a stack of burgers or a steak. And then in the evening, another stack of burgers or steak, or sometimes pork bellies, a classic friend of mine. I also make a weekly egg and sausage frittata. I incorporate cheese into my carnivore journey, so I'll throw a little cheese in the frittata, and that's usually baked on Sunday. Big casserole dish makes 8 servings, and so that'll spackle out. Sometimes it's burgers, sometimes it's frittata, but yeah, usually 2 big meals a day. I struggle with getting enough calories in. I've started eating sticks of butter now, so I'm sure Bella would be proud. But yeah, it's meat, eggs, cheese, and more meat, eggs, and cheese.
Carnivore meals for me vary a lot, but I will say for the most part, I eat 2 meals a day. I'm very comfortable. I don't really push myself to intermittent fast. It just happens naturally. And the meals, typically anywhere from, I'll say the majority is ground beef, New York strip, or ribeye.
Mostly I try to eat a steak. I have ground beef also occasionally. Eggs occasionally, they're not a major part, but it's an excellent food. I usually buy a rib section and cut it into ribeyes, or picanha, which is more inexpensive, and cut it into steaks, dry brine them, put them in the refrigerator. We go through it for the next 5-7 days.
I love this question because being Chris Cooking Nashville as it is, I think people think I'm eating recipes on a daily basis and I'm doing carnivore mashed potatoes or any of those things, and that's just not true. I do those for my videos. I do them as tools for special get-togethers, holidays, family parties, whatever. A normal day, 90% of the time, usually I skip breakfast because I'm just not hungry in the mornings that often. A lot of times it's 1 meal a day. If I'm hungry, I'll eat 2, but usually it's 1. And it is my most regular go-to is a bunch of fatty beef patties, a bunch of eggs, and made with lots of butter, or I'll do steak, or I'll do chicken, or I'll do pork, whatever sounds good, whatever's on sale, but it is meat and usually some kind of eggs, all of it cooked in butter, beef fat, something like that. And it's honestly, it's really simple most of the time. and then I just play with the recipes when I need a little bit of a break from that for fun.
And I was smart, and I married Chris Cooking Nashville, so I just eat whatever the hell he makes, and it's worked great for me. That's it. So, and sometimes I am more keto, so sometimes I do have a salad with my steak or whatever, and it makes me feel good and I enjoy it. And my husband is very kind to support me though, and the fact that he may not want to eat the veggies, but sometimes I do. So he's very kind to, you know, make himself some eggs along with the steak. I get a steak and, you know, some asparagus or something. And it's nice to know that we can be different yet eat a meal together.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like or hit that subscribe button. They're both free and easy ways you can support this channel. I'd also like to mention that my book, Complete Carnivore, is available for pre-order. This book is a complete in-depth guide to the carnivore diet along with 80+ carnivore recipes. There's something for every carnivore, whether you're a newbie or a seasoned vet. Pre-orders are super important for new authors, and I'm trying to get this book onto every bookstore shelf in America on release day. Pre-orders are the best way that we can make that happen. If you'd like to take your support a bit further, pre-ordering this book is the best way you can do it. Thanks again to all of my carnivore experts. Meatstock 2025 was amazing. And you know, if you want to be in a room with these carnivore experts, you need to be at Meatstock 2026. I'll put a link to it in the description. You can use code Jenny to get $50 off your conference ticket. With that, I'll see you in the next video.